Good morning, Karen from Quantum Heart Awakening. Today we're going to do a Divine Feminine check-in. Let's see where we go. Today might be a little crazy day for some people, might be last day for grocery shopping in preparation for the holiday. So there's a bit of a frenzy energy in the air. So let's see what we're doing. Let's see where we're going. Okay, we have cards falling on the floor and I cannot see them. Hold up. Okay. We have Pride in reverse, feminines. Anything else, Spirit? Anything else? What are the feminines confronting? What are blocks to love? What are blocks to their desires? What do we need to know for the highest and best good of self and the planet? I need to get a better setup. These are all falling on the floor. We have Compassion in reverse. It's a 99 card. Interesting. Lots of purple. Lots of divine connection. Anything else, Spirit? Anything else? Yes, we have all reversals. Okay, we have love and we have adventure. Let's just take a peek at the unconscious position. We have teaching and learning. Okay, immediately the message is many of you have spiritual gifts that you've been sitting on, that you've been hiding away for whatever reason. Fear of being seen in your power, fear of claiming power, fear of using your voice, opening your throat chakra. There's so much blue and purple here. So much blue and purple here. So crown chakra, throat chakra, 5 and 6. So 3. Okay, sorry, I was just looking at the numerology really quick. Let's just run through it. I'm gonna think out loud. When this feels like a very stagnant, staccato energy, so let's just run it down. We have pride. These are all reversals: pride, compassion, love, adventure. Let's just get more messages. I'm not feeling any sort of really loud message here. It'll make sense eventually. That's the lesson in doing this work and surrendering to the mystery. And here I'm going to do a little teaching and education on this process of oracle reading. So much of surrendering to the mystery is in getting comfortable in the pause. Some people panic in the not knowing. It's like when I'm coaching a client or something, people get really uncomfortable in silence. Right? We feel like we have to fill it. We have to feel like we have to perform or to say something or whatever. But honestly, so much of, I'm thinking of things I've learned in depth psychology. Sometimes sitting with the mystery long enough is what gives the mystery permission to gift something to you, right? If we're constantly filling the space, then there's no extra room for something to come in, right? So it's important that we learn and get comfortable keeping a space open for the mystery. Okay, as I was blabbing, we have blessed for the feminines came out. Anything else, Spirit? Anything else? And then we have higher power in reverse. Okay, yeah, there's I'm just gonna be direct about it. Feminines, when's the last time you've connected with your spiritual practices? Whatever that is for you. It doesn't have to just be going to temple, church, mosque, or something like that, but it could be, when's the last time you've communed with something higher? Higher wisdom, higher feelings, nature. Say more, Spirit, say more on this. Gosh, we have very, when I mentioned earlier, the energy is very staccato. It's very sharp and, pointy. And so we're getting a lot of this, like the cards are launching everywhere. So we have peace, we have the fates. I will put this on. Whew, feminines. Okay. This is, I don't know how many readings in a row feminines have been getting peace, from all different decks too. Let me just pause. Hold on. Oh my goodness. Sorry. I just did a Divine Masculine short. I just recorded like a short, quick little reading. both the masculine and the feminine have new life in the unconscious position. All right, let's leave some space open for the mystery. All right, I got it. Feminines, this is not a time for taking on more. This is a time of finding that safety, that delicious, comfortable, ease-filled, grace-filled, sacred space in your heart, in your home, to allow the integration and alchemy of everything you've experienced over this year, and to allow your divine truth to fuel your imagination, to start envisioning a life that you desire, a life that is in alignment with your soul mission, a life where you're not rejecting, abandoning, or betraying any part of self. It's not a small thing, feminines. I know I'm saying it like light and fluffy, but it is not a small thing. So again, what is being pushed into the shadow is your new life rooted in your something around education, either your desires rooted in wanting to learn more, go back to school, learn a new trade or skill, or your new life is rooted in you teaching others, you educating others, and help others through something that you've already been through. You know what's so funny to me? All of these earlier messages, they just feel like a whole separate reading. So I have faith that it will come back around. But feminines, your biggest work right now is to surrender with gratitude for this blessed life that you've been living. No matter what it's looked like. It's a 22 card. That's a very balanced card. Think of 4 legs of a table. You know, having 4 legs makes a table very sturdy, right? So there's something about this time that you're in or entering into that is a very blessed time. The visual I'm getting is it's very rich soil. It's very nutrient dense soil to which you can plant whatever seeds you desire, whatever seeds that are in alignment with your higher truth, your higher desires, your higher mission, your higher soul purpose. Sorry, it's early. I'm getting tongue twisted this morning. This, I don't know if you could see this here, but in this peace card, there's this ovoid, there's this egg with a face on it, and then there's this dove holding what I have to assume is an olive branch. You know, feminine, some of you have been really harboring a lot of angst, a lot of unfinished business, and so it's time to... Okay, I just got interrupted. Okay. This is not a time of taking action, as we said earlier. This is a time of like sinking into the earth, allowing the earth to come and, fill up around you, to allow yourself to be held by this kind of divine time and space in your life. Now, the message here is so interesting. Sorry, I'm getting several pathways and they're all weaving together. This is not a time of you taking action to extend the olive branch to others. This is a time to extend the olive branch to that which you've been pushing into the shadow. So what does it look like? What does that phrase even mean? For some of you that have never heard that phrase, to extend an olive branch, I think I might be totally making this up, but somewhere in my psyche, it believes this. I feel like in ancient, like Greek or Roman times, they would extend an olive branch or share olives as a symbol of, like, like, let's make up, let's forgive one another, let's step into a more peaceful place. I might have completely made up that story, but for some reason that's in my brain. So you'll have to look up the origins. But anyway, the idea is true. The idea that when we extend the olive branch to someone, it's like a bid for communion. It's a bid for union. It's a bid for affection, for understanding, for love. It's saying, hey, I am open, ready, and willing to create a more peaceful dynamic between us. Are you open and willing? It's like it's the first person taking a step towards healing and wholeness, and saying, I rather be in love rather than in contraction or competition or fear. I rather be in creation than competition, right? I rather create a moment of peace, a moment of union, a moment of cooperation as we move through these difficult feelings, right? So feminines, this isn't really a time of you, I just keep getting the message that it's such an inward expression, right? You're extending the olive branch to the parts of self that you've abandoned, the parts of self that you've been rejecting, the truth that you have been failing to communicate. Sorry, that failing was a little bit of an aggressive word, but it's like if you've had a truth that you've been avoiding, you're extending this olive branch to this truth, to this concept, to this idea. Now, feminines, this is in alignment with what we received in the, let me think, I think it was the last twin flame hierogamy reading that I did. What continues to come up for the feminines is that you are nurturing a more authentic relationship with your truth. Okay, this is starting to make sense now to me. Okay, it's coming in slowly but surely. It's coming in. So you are being asked to deploy love in your speech, in your words that you speak to self, compassion for these parts of self that you've maybe shoved into the shadow for a year, 10 years, your entire life. You are being asked to put your pride aside in your interior castle within yourself and deploy this compassion, empathy, and love, and go on the adventure of what it is to explore your own psyche. What is the adventure is such an interesting visual they're giving me. In this is so funny. In Super Mario Brothers, when I think it was the third one, Super Mario 3, whatever the game was, when they would show you the map and you could, Super Mario could travel to any of the lands. They're showing me that. And so you are being asked to travel. They're showing me like the map of your interior world. You're being asked to travel to all these different interior landscapes within your own heart, mind, body, self. You're being asked to travel to visit these unexplored pieces of self, feminine, to really, in this time of peace, it's peaceful because you're actually soothing self. You're taking accountability for all of the parts of your truth that you've pushed into the shadows, that you've pushed away, that you haven't wanted to embrace and come into relationship with. Ooh, it's a lot of energy. I'm very drawn to this. Let me hold it up. I'm very drawn to this Imagine card because can you see this figure right here who's holding onto a string of like a balloon-like moon, a balloon-like crescent moon? So when we think of the moon symbolizes, the moon illuminates the darkness, right? The moon is a symbol of, that which is hidden becomes illuminated. So feminines, you're being asked to imagine what would it look like if someone flipped the switch and illuminated all the things that you've been hiding from yourself, all of the thoughts, all of the needs, all of the desires. So much of the feminine journey has been learning not to compromise, learning not to abandon your own truth, your own voice, learning not to sacrifice deeply meaningful parts of self. This is really important here, feminines. As I cough and open up my throat chakra. This is divine work. You are preparing and nourishing and nurturing yourself so that you will be prepared for 2025. Wouldn't it be lovely to live a life that is not walking on eggshells with your own self, with your own truth, with your own desires? Okay. It's a lot. It's a lot, feminines. Let's get some of these cards. Let's see. Anything else? Okay, we have protection. It says, call back your power, cut the cord, soul retrieval. It was in the reverse. I'll just leave it upright so we can read it and see it. There's another moon symbol, kind of the... we have what looks like an eclipse here. So you have the moon eclipsing the sun. So you have the thing, almost like something blocking the light here. We have soul family. We have call in your tribe. You don't have to do it alone. We have keepers of the earth. You are not alone. Another card of communion. Ancient ancestors stand beside you. And then we have the age of light. You've been training for this for lifetimes in reverse. Interesting that it's in reverse. And we also have this teaching and learning card in the unconscious. It's like, feminines, when you become quiet enough, excuse me, when you quiet your life, the world around you enough, your truth will be so obvious to you. It will be illuminated, sitting on the altar of your inner landscape. It will be screaming at you. And maybe you don't have to do that at all. Maybe it's loud as you're listening to me talk. You're like, yeah, Karen, I know exactly what my truth is. I know what I want to do. I know XYZ, but I'm not in a position to do it. That's a different pathway, right? That's different work. This first step for some of you here is just acknowledging that you're allowed, you're worthy, you're enough to turn your entire life upside down, if that means that it will become a life that is more resonant for you. Okay, hold on. We're going in a bunch of directions here. Let me refocus. Let's just get some more messages here. Okay, anything else for these divine feminines? Whoa. We have opportunity knocks, go for it. Anything else for feminines? Anything else for feminines? We have new beginnings, begin your new life. I think masculine's got this as well. And for those of you, if you haven't watched the last Twin Flame reading, I highly recommend it. I feel like I just really liked it. It was a really good reading. But most importantly, it was one of my first readings where I actually was able to feel that the feminine and masculine energy for the first time are able to work as a team. Teamwork makes the dream work. And so there was this like tandem effort. There was this tandem energy that what was going on the feminine side didn't mirror. It wasn't about mirroring, because that's a different twin flame thing, right? What was going on the feminine side actually supported the masculine side. It's like feminines took a step, masculines took a step. Feminines took a step, masculines. So it was just this delicious kind of symbiotic movement that was happening. And so it's not an accident, feminines, that you're getting a lot of the masculine cards and your struggles are aligning with masculine struggles. It makes a lot of sense. If the masculine and feminine energy is in a canoe together, it makes sense. If they're both rowing in the same direction, it makes sense they would confront the same obstacles. You're rowing in the same direction. You have a goal of anchoring this new life, a life that is in alignment with your deepest desires. To achieve and excavate those deepest desires, you have to actually be truthful to yourself, be authentic with yourself, go on the adventure of excavating your truth, that no matter how deep those roots are, being daring enough to share that truth, even if it's only to yourself, and then maybe your loved ones, and then maybe, uproot your entire being to take new steps to anchor this new life. It's not, it's not all light and fluffy here today. And yet the messages are so clear. Excuse me. Yes, it's not that it's an easy road, but it's a clear road. The work ahead of you is very obvious right now, feminines. Anything else for feminines? Anything else for feminines? We have so much energy of new beginning. So what is blocking your new beginning? For some of you here, you don't need me. You don't need this reading to tell you something. You already know what the things are. So I'm going to, sometimes I was just talking with my very good soul sister, who's a really profound executive coach. She's just so talented. We always talk about, often the differences in our own lives of when we need a therapist, when we need a coach versus when we need like love or empathy or support, or kind of that mothering friend energy. And it is different, right? Different strokes for different times in your life. Sometimes you need a therapist to like help you navigate a specific rough sea that you're traversing. Sometimes you need a coach who, coaches tend to have more intervention. In my experience, I am a coach. I've been trained in different coaching modalities. It's funny because although I love the premise behind coaching, I don't love coaching. I love teaching. I'm an educator. So I don't call myself a coach. You might hear me use that word once in a while, but I am an educator because I like the idea of reminding all of you that at the end of the day, you are the sovereign being. You are the sovereign of your life. It is you who holds this profound power. And so me sharing knowledge and wisdom with you it makes my heart feel better. Let me just speak honestly. It makes my heart feel better to give you the wisdom and then say, hey, I'm here, go use it and see what happens. It's that, and I'm not knocking therapists or coaches. I've had both, and some have been profound and some have fallen flat, and that doesn't really say anything about me or them. It's just what was needed in the moment, and our needs change in every moment. Sometimes you need a shaman. You know what I mean? Sometimes I need a Reiki master. Sometimes I need a sound healer. It doesn't say anything or it doesn't mean anything about those other healers. It was just not the right prescription for the time. It's like a plant. If a plant is, dying for sunshine and they need sunlight and you give them more water, it's just not the right prescription for the need, So I don't know why I went off on that tangent. I'm curious in this new year if some of you are seeking more support. Don't forget, we had all these cards over here telling you that you're not alone doing this work. And don't for a second, listen, the world is a very huge place and the internet has made this massive place feel much, much smaller. So don't for a second think that you're going through something unique. What is in you is in the collective, right? There is no other. So what you're going through, we're all going through on some level. So seek the help you need. Seek camaraderie. Seek your soul tribe or your crew or whatever feels right to you. Go online. Find different groups. There's always a Facebook group for the most like niche specific thing that's going on, or anywhere. There's always places you can find connection. And also, don't forget your connection to spirit feminines. Perfect. Okay, I was wondering how we were going to segue into this. Don't forget what we mentioned earlier. When's the last time you've dropped into spiritual experience? What even comes up when I say that for you? What is spiritual experience to you? What is spiritual union? What does that look like? For me, it's dancing. It's being out in nature, being barefoot on the earth when I can. I mean, it's free. It's really, really cold here. I think it's 15 degrees Fahrenheit. For me, that's really, really cold. I won't judge other cultures and climates, but I feel a little wimpy sometimes when it comes to the cold. So feminines, don't forget, like, lean on your spiritual experience. Ask the divine to send you some help. If you have no idea where to begin or where to find friends or people who can empathize with you, ask spirit. Say, I need a buddy. I need a consciousness friend to help me navigate and traverse this rough terrain. Help me out. And you never know how the universe is going to gift you with that support. You do not know. Oh, I'm getting emotional. You do not know how angels will navigate through your life and show up. You might be in line to get a coffee and then the person behind you strikes up a conversation. Like or on the bus or, on your lunch break at work, like you have no clue. However, this is what I was talking about in the beginning. We have to make sure that we leave a space open for the divine. Now, what does that look like? Okay, there's the 3D reality of like, you have to put yourself in motion. If you're locked away in your apartment or home, you're not putting yourself in the way of possibility. Sometimes you have to put yourself physically move your body, put your body in the way of opportunity, in the way of magic, in the way of the mystery. So that's the first thing. The other thing is psychologically and energetically keep a space open for trust, faith, and belief that is possible, right? If you're, kind of in the curmudgeon energy and you're just like, I'm alone, I'm always going to be alone, no one's helping me, I'm not worthy of love and hope and help and blah, blah, blah. The universe is just magnifying that energy over and over again. And I know that digging yourself out of that hole is some of the most difficult distance that you will have to travel. I've been there. And it's very difficult because that energy just magnifies so quickly, right? It kind of sucks us under like quicksand sometimes. But there is hope. And if you are in the trenches right now, if you do find yourself, feminines, in a dark night of the soul, pray. Get your butt into prayer. I don't care if you make the prayers up. I don't care if you go old school prayers. I don't care if your prayers are poetry that you love or lyrics to a song. Pray. You need to invoke higher guidance, higher wisdom that comes from something greater than self. It's reaching out to the universe and say, hey, I can't do this alone. Help me. And that could be your prayer. That's it. But you need to kind of get yourself moving, wielding your free will in a different way. And prayers do that for me. I highly recommend prayers. And if you're not in a dark night of the soul, I recommend writing down some prayers now for when you are struggling. I think that's a wonderful, wonderful tool to have in your toolbox, to have maybe like a book of your prayers that are custom designed for you and your life and what you and your struggles and what you need specific micro help with. Okay, anything else? I'm losing my voice here. Okay, we have legends. Masculine's got this this morning as well. Legends, learn from those who inspire you. I think once you get out of college, I think it's like you don't really think about mentors other than when you're young, right? I need a mentor because I need to learn this skill or this career or whatever it is. But really, we can have mentors at every stage of our journey. You could be 80 years old and have a mentor of someone else doing it. It's basically someone that inspires you, someone that you look up to, someone that knows how to do something that you don't know how to do. It doesn't matter their numerical age. I don't care if you're 80 with a mentor who's 35 or a coach that's 35. I know sometimes in the healing world, we have some preconceived notions about people who are younger than us. I used to have a therapist that was younger than me, and it was a wonderful experience. Sometimes you just need someone to hold space for you, and it doesn't really matter. I wasn't going to therapy because I needed to learn a task. It wasn't like that. But you could be an apprentice to anyone. You could be, like I said, an 80-year-old could be an apprentice to a 30-year-old who knows how to do stuff on the computer that they don't know how to do, or, whatever it is. Feminines, you're allowed to seek a mentor with your internal, to learn internal skills. You're allowed to seek a spiritual guide, a spiritual counselor. I mean, if you need one, I can help you. This is what I do, right? This is, it started probably 15 years ago when I started my path of Reiki. Actually, oh my God, it's more than 15 years at this point, but whatever. Who's counting? I had my Reiki master guided me when I was moving through difficult things and helped me to use energy healing to yank me out of some dark places. Listen, like, you're not going to learn how to do something until you learn how to do it. And you could try to, fall down and get back up all on your own. Or if there's someone who's open, ready, and willing to help you, I think that's probably better than suffering on your own and banging your head against the wall when you don't have to, feminines. Okay. Anything else? I feel like my voice has been changing over the last couple days. Okay, now this is getting a little crazy, and I've been shuffling. I mean, masculines, we have the same cards coming out. It says it's the dolphin energy. It says, don't worry, be happy. So feminines, this is, this makes, out of all the cards I've pulled, honestly, this feels the most resonant of this energy. Like, let's just hold it up and look at it. Can you see that? Is that clear? Okay. Look at this delightful vibe. We have what I'm assuming are some mermaids. We have this other land lady who's, blowing bubbles out of this mushroom looking thing. And we have dolphins just hanging around and having fun and playing. And there's all this, just look at all these bubbles. It's just such a sweet energy. This card to me mirrors the energy of this time of year the best out of this entire spread. This energy is the holiday season. Don't worry. Like, honor that the integration happens naturally. It's not something that you have to go and study and dissect your entire year and look at your childhood and peel back all the layers. This isn't a time for that. Yes, absolutely. There's a time and place for that. This isn't now. You're meant to enjoy the unfurling experience ahead of you, to honor. Remember, we talked about earlier about honoring your blessed state. Tuning to higher self, say prayers of gratitude, but allow yourself to really feel it. Sometimes through prayer, I end up weeping on my knees because I am so overcome with gratitude that I get to be here and do this, that I've survived the last 5 years of I'm getting teary-eyed now because no one can know what you've been through, right? You're the only one who's been with yourself from birth to this present moment. And so no one can truly validate your experience like you can. So if you find yourself trying to seek validation, really catch yourself and call your spirit back from places it doesn't belong and really let go of the attachment to needing that validation. Surrender to your own worth, to your own truth. Embrace this blessed moment. Okay. Oof. Man, my throat is really raw. I'm wondering what that's about. Okay, getting a separate message about my throat. There's some feminines here that have been trying to speak their truth for a very long time. And maybe it has fallen on deaf ears. Maybe you have been, screaming at the top of your lungs on the rooftops and no one's coming. No one's coming to support you. No one's coming to validate you. Let me just honor how painful that experience is. It sucks. It's so hard to feel like, especially if you're in a big family dynamic, especially if you're part of a big team at work. The hardest thing is not to be alone, but to be in a big group and to feel alone, to feel abandoned, to feel that you don't matter. That's more painful than actually being alone, feminines. So let me honor the how cruel that experience can feel. So if you've been this kind of energy of screaming at the top of your lungs and it falling on deaf ears, how can you call your spirit back from places it doesn't belong? How can you self-validate? Listen, and I don't, I have interesting relationship with Jordan Peterson. Sometimes I love him, sometimes I do not love him. But something he says that I think went viral is, if people are no longer listening to what you're saying, stop talking. And that is so valuable, because at some point, actually immediately, if you notice the person hasn't listened the first, second, or third time, you are now spinning your wheels and leaking your precious life force out to the world around you. This might be a boss, this might be a partner or a spouse, this might be your children, this might be a relative, your parents. At some point, you have to stop banging your head against the wall and call your power back to you and say, okay, if this is showing up on my side of the street, what is my role here? How can I take accountability for my own involvement in this energy? Is there something I can change with my words, with my actions in my own life? Is there something I have to change with how I spend my time? This is a big one, do I have to enforce certain boundaries with my loved ones or with my coworkers to step into deeper wholeness? Am I compromising a part of self somewhere in my life? And where am I leaking energy? Where does it not feel like a hell yes? The last few readings, and it's funny because I did take a break about talking about boundaries for a while, but in the beginning of my YouTube, I was talking about boundaries almost every reading, and now it's circling back, and it makes sense to me because it's around the holidays, and let's just be real. Our families bring out all of our unhealed crap. Like, let's just own that. Why does that happen? Because we resort to how we were as children, or our family treats us that way. Our family does not honor that we've maybe grown and shifted and changed into a completely different person. They are committed in their patterns to treating you and seeing you in one way. And that could really rattle your cage, right? Or rattle our cages. So it's up to us to learn, okay, to assess what's going on, and then to turn inward and say, what do I need in the present moment? And then parent ourselves and give ourselves what we need. So if it's too difficult to be around certain family members around this holiday, then your job is to do the difficult task of communicating and holding a boundary. Maybe you just go for dinner, but you don't go, for the 8-hour, 9-hour holiday extravaganza. Maybe you just show up exactly at dinner time and then you leave exactly when dinner is over. Maybe it's taking bite-sized bits of family instead of like this massive 3-day event or something. Maybe it's going alone to your family without the rest of your own family so that you could be in and out, and then you nurture your own family traditions. I don't know what it is. I'm just pulling these out of thin air. But the point is, you are worthy to set and hold your boundaries, whatever makes you feel safer, whatever keeps your peace. That's a big one. We have peace under here. I'll bring it back out, put it smack dab in the center of the reading. You are worthy to do whatever it takes to keep your peace. And that's a hard pill to swallow, especially if you've grown up in a family where, crossing your own boundaries was expected. Like, of course you're going to slave away and cook for 5 days because that's just what you do. Of course you don't complain. Of course you don't ask for help. You just do it because so-and-so asked you to do it. Of course you're going to people please and walk on eggshells with your loved ones because that's the environment in which you were raised in, right? So it's up to you as an adult to reclaim that piece of your life force and draw new boundaries. Woo! This is intense, but doesn't it make sense? Doesn't all of this make sense because of the holiday season? I just feel like where this reading is placed in the year is completely speaking into all the kind of holiday chaos that may trigger all these different things. Wait, hold on. Where do we want to go, Spirit? I feel like we should end soon, but I kind of keep going. Let me just get these and then we'll close up. Okay. Anything else, Spirit? Anything else you want to share? What would support these feminines in keeping the peace or identifying their truth and then communicating their truth? All right, what do we got here? We have alchemy, we have expectation, and we have balance. Okay, immediately, alchemy, when you think of alchemy, I think of a chemist doing this with their chemicals, right? Putting it from one beaker to the other. And then we have this balance card. So feminines, balance your expectations of what people, places, and things can deliver. You know, if you have like a really old school relative who you know deep in your heart, they're never going to change, adjust your expectations. Do not put yourself in harm's way by setting yourself up to fail, by hoping they change every time. Instead, honor the truth of what they're showing you and then deploy specific boundaries that would support you in navigating this kind of tumultuous experience with ease or with greater ease. Oof, okay, anything else, Spirit? Anything else off these messages? Yeah, just to say something else about that, there's something here too. I can't stop looking at this balance card. You know, at some point, and this could be heartbreaking, feminines, we want to think, especially if you are on a trajectory where you are awakening, where you are learning, where you are shifting and growing at all moments in time. Every time you awaken to another level of awareness or consciousness, it's going to be heartbreaking when you discover that not everyone can travel with you. Sometimes your children, your spouse, your family cannot travel with you. And so once you have that awareness, that's divine information flowing through your body, right? That's your intuition trying to get your attention. Once you have this awareness that your family will not be able to meet you as you need to meet them, or as you need to be met rather, you will then have to do the work of, one, lowering your expectations or adjusting them appropriately so that you can surrender to the experience that's unfurling around you and that you can take accountability for your own actions, wants, needs, desires, and give yourself those experiences, right? Like if you have a family member that's just never, ever going to change, they're always going to treat you the same. They're always going to look at you the same. They're going to talk down to you. They're going to, whatever it is. I'm not like, I can't pretend to know what your situation is. However, if you know this family member is never, ever going to live up to your boundaries or meet you where you need to be met, it is up to you for you to balance out your own energy. It is your energy. It is your responsibility. It is your job to take accountability for what you need instead of waiting and hoping that, oh, maybe my family member will change. No, give yourself the peace you need in the present moment. Let me tell you, when you start giving yourself exactly what you need and you start living from a peaceful place, that's the energy that has a hope and a prayer of shifting the energy of this unshiftable, unshakable thing that's, you know, with your family or with work or whatever. That's when you have a shot in the dark. And I'm not saying it's guaranteed. Sometimes people just never change. And sometimes those people chose to incarnate here. You signed soul contracts with those people to piss you off. They are here to try to get you to lose your center so you could practice holding your center. Have you ever thought of it like that? That your spouse is there to, you know, be a pain in the butt so that you can learn how to manage your own energy better. That you have that like racist grandma that will never change, you know, to get you to own your own truth and own your own belief system in a more concrete way instead of trying to get validation from the racist matriarch, right? These are things that are meant to be, right? These are things that were divinely placed on your path. So you get to, you know, embody the lesson, to integrate and embody that which has, you know, eluded you. Wow. Really, really great message. Let's just end on some Buddha wisdom here. What's interesting too is I just got a really bad, sharp stomach pain at the end of this reading. I think they want me to tell you and to give you a little hope and faith. Feminines, this is not easy. I know when you're surrounded by loved ones and like-minded individuals like myself who are carrying the torch for this work, who understand what twin flame path is, who understand what these weird spiritual unconventional ideas are, it can feel really motivational, or I don't want to say easy, but easier than if you're out in the world alone. Just know, okay, as a spiritual leader, as a spiritual guide, it is my job to prepare you for this sort of battle, right? You can master all the spiritual concepts, all the wisdom, all of the information, but it's up to you to actually go flex your muscles and literally deploy these teachings in your life. Having said that, it is hard. It is very hard. And this stomach ache, I feel it's so weird. It's like not a regular stomach ache. It's a sharp pain. So understand that you will take some hits, right? The second you stand up to people in your life that have been accustomed to walking all over you, or accustomed to you not having a voice, or accustomed to you not speaking up when things are incorrect or offensive or abusive, you may get some pushback. I wouldn't be doing my job if I wouldn't tell you that you will get some pushback. Like, let's just honor the nature of the beast here. People don't like being shown who they are and how they are, especially if how they are is in some way not of a positive light, right? So I need to kind of prepare you for battle a little bit. And it's just such a funny concept because, a lot of people dread going home for the holidays. I love the holidays. That's just my, but I get along with my family. We have our issues. We have the long-term standing ancestral issues. But I found a way to recalibrate my system and take accountability for what I need so I could stay the whole time at the family gathering. But if I have to go in the other room, or if I have to go for a little, I call it a digestion walk after dinner or something, just to have some quiet time, or go in the coat room or whatever it is, or go play with the kids. Sometimes we need to just ground a little bit because it is a lot of chaotic energy. It does bring up our childhood shit, right? So again, I'm going to lead you back to your own sovereignty. How can you take accountability for your own wants, needs, and desires in the present moment? That's the question. Write it on a Post-it, stick it on your mirror. Whew, I've done a lot of talking. This is probably one of my longest readings I've ever done. Let's get some Buddha wisdom. Spirit, what would you like to end on? What would you like to end on? Okay, we have form does not differ from void. Form is void. Outer difficult will be resolved with inner truth. Wow. This is pretty on point given what I was talking about earlier. I started the reading talking about, in order for us to receive a gift from the mystery, we have to leave a space open for the mystery. So honor that if you are struggling with something in your external world, it means something is out of whack, out of balance in your internal world. How can you take more responsibility, or what can you take responsibility for in your inner world? Again, it doesn't say inner world, it says inner truth. And we started this reading with all this throat chakra card, right? Where is your truth being blocked? What deep heart-centered truth have you not spoke out into the world? It is time to reclaim it. Anything else, Spirit? Anything else? Big reading, feminines. Wait, this is like a lot of cards. Let's not take these. One more card, Spirit. One more card. Anything else? Okay. We got two more cards. We have in birth, decay, and death, sorrow and turmoil, be the seer of the ultimate reality with faith and serenity. This is like, no matter what chaos you're in, feminines, fly above it and hold your deepest desire of your ultimate reality. What is the thing, if you had a fairy godmother come to your house right now, knock on your door and say, I can give you exactly what you want, what is it? Are you ready to answer that question? You should be, right? You should be holding this truth in your heart all the time. What is the ultimate reality that you would desire for yourself, for your family, for the world around you? What is that ultimate truth? And then our last card we will end on, it says, become the shelter of the world, a resting place for the broken and wounded. This is a true bodhisattva path. So again, this goes back, circles perfectly back into our first shadow position here. You are a spiritual guide. I don't care what level you think you're at. I don't care how far along the path you think you are. You are meant to guide others. I have a sense that you know that you are here to teach and learn and to teach, but you're pushing this truth as a divine bodhisattva or a educator or a seer or an oracle or, fill in the blank. You are here to help others. And sometimes the first others that we help are our internal parts, the internal family system that we hold within our hearts. Then it's our family, our immediate family. Then it's our extended family. Then it's our friends. Then it's our community. Then it's our city. Then it's our state. Then it's our country. Do you see how this works? But you cannot master the process until you first honor what is going on within self. Powerful, powerful reading, feminines. I'm going to leave it there. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful holiday. I'm going to try to keep recording, but I don't know how much I'm going to get done. And I do want to have some quality time with my nieces and nephews and siblings and family and all the good things. I'm wishing you such a blessed, blessed holiday season, sending you so much love, and I will see you in the next one.